Lounge is on the air, 246. Last week I said 247 when I went back and watched it. That was 245. This is 246. Next week, or in 2 weeks from now, will be 247.
Get it right, for God's sakes.
Get it right, for Christ's sake. Loyola in the Final Four. Charlie's here, Marcus is here, Nathan Stacken will also be here, and we'll also talk briefly about baseball. We have Kansas and Duke going on right now. Charlie, this is a game everybody loses. Everybody loses in this one.
In the Kansas Duke game?
Yep, nobody.
There's some truth to that. There's, it's the Blue Bloods getting blue blood here by adding another Final Four either way.
Marcus, I think Duke wins this game. What say you?
I think Duke wins as well. I would be fine with Kansas winning, but if Kansas wins, then that means that they would win in the Elite Eight, and their deal is to lose at this stage. So they must lose.
I have much more interest in Villanova Duke than Kansas Villanova.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, I think the Final Four would be better off, even though they've got to play Villanova if Duke's in it. So fine.
I would say either way, though, that the Villanova against the winner of this game is more intriguing to me either way than Michigan and Loyola. That's just because I assume whoever wins between Michigan and Loyola is going to lose in the title game.
I think part of it also comes down to how much of a chance do you give Loyola against Michigan?
Pretty good chance.
A decent enough chance, more than I was expecting. I think last week at this time, I think we knew that Loyola was in the Sweet 16, and I felt like if they would win 2 games, then their steam would be gone by the Final Four. I'm not necessarily sure that would be the case. So, in Michigan, when Michigan's not scoring 95 points, they look pretty I don't know if vulnerable is the right word, but certainly on the same plane as everybody else. So, and Loyola played great these last 2 games. So, I'd be eager to check that out.
First week, Michigan played poorly. Could have lost either of the games, or especially the second game. They probably should have lost. Last week, they had no trouble, and they were a Final Four team that a lot of people like. So, really, we've only got one surprise, a crazy year, and that one region, the South region, was a complete mess. Everything else wasn't too ridiculous. The right side of the bracket, the East and the Midwest were chalk, and then the left side was a little messy. But again, Michigan as a 3, not a huge surprise making it. Chicago as an 11, they make it. It's one of those things where they could win the whole thing, and they could beat Villanova in the title game. They could beat the best team in Villanova. But it's just one of those things where nobody would think they're the best team that year, just because this is a tournament, and it just so happened that they beat Miami. I don't think anybody here had Miami winning that game, so it was fine. They had 3 last-second shots. The easiest game they've had was the Elite Eight game. That's the worst team they've played so far, this thing. Tennessee was probably the best team they played. Nevada was pretty good, probably the second-best team they played, and they beat all 3 of those above-average teams on last-second shots, and Kansas State just was not very good. So it's just one of those things where, are they one of the top 20 best teams? Probably not. But the way the tournament worked, they Yep.
Can I say that did I make the point last week about Kentucky and expectations on this show?
I don't know. Kentucky,
because my point would be that, at the beginning of the year, they're expected to make the Final Four just like every year. And then they suck, and they play like shit in the SEC, and people are like, well, they're probably not going to go very far, and then they win the SEC tournament, and, they supersede the lower expectations. Seems like Calipari's as good as anybody at sort of moving the bar wherever it needs to be moved. And you look at their bracket, it was difficult because they had Arizona. And then all of a sudden after the first weekend, it's wide open again. And so the Final Four comes back on the table, and then they just piss their pants against Kansas State, and they're out. And it seems like it's just kind of the most fitting way for their stupid season to end, that they blow it when they probably should be in the Final Four.
a Kansas State team who I think their best player he got hurt early in the game and didn't come back. And
well, he said he played 8 minutes the whole tournament. I mean, so what the hell is that all about?
The guy who was the leading scorer for Kansas State in that game fouls out with 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
Kentucky's oh man, we can't beat this team with 4 guards.
They had 7 guys that were available at the end. I mean, it was just stupid.
Charlie, where does Chicago rank here? You've got, VCU and Butler. What didn't they make it the same year and play each other? That was interesting. Wasn't LSU a team? It wasn't a very high seed. They may have made a final.
I thought they were a 4 seed. LSU, they beat Duke in the Sweet 16.
George Mason, they were in 11. Where's Chicago?
Who they beat. I don't remember who VCU beat in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8.
Kansas?
Was it Kansas? I know George Mason beat a pretty loaded UConn team. So they get credit for that. If VCU beats Kansas, they get credit for that. And I'm not saying this in a negative way towards Loyola, but like you said, I mean, I think they played some good teams, but it's not like they beat, that loaded 1 seed or that loaded 2 seed that should have been a 1 where you're just oh wow. And that's not to take away at all from what they've done, but I mean, both Loyola and Michigan actually have had very strange roads where it's actually, not that I'm saying it doesn't count or we should hold it against them, but certainly, at least in terms by seeding, it could have been much more difficult for both of them. But they're in the Final Four. They've controlled what they can control, and they still can win it all.
2011 VCU. They were an 11 seed. They beat Georgetown. They beat Purdue. Neither game, both games, 20-point games.
Didn't they play in the first 4 that year too?
Yep. VCU, Florida State in 11 versus a 10. It was 72-70, and there's an asterisk, so I assume somebody used steroids in this game, or maybe went in overtime. So they beat Florida State by 1, and then they beat Kansas pretty handily by 10. If Kansas State would have made it, that would have been the most porous road to a Final Four ever. That would have been disgusting.
I would say that, just in maybe storyline and off the radarness, there's the most parallels with the George Mason team of 2006. But look at George Mason's road and look at what Loyola had to go against, and they're not really comparable. I mean, George
We're
Mason.
not shocked that Loyola won any of these games.
George Mason beat the North Carolina team that was starting over, but was still the defending champs, right?
Yep. And they beat Michigan State in the first round. They beat North Carolina in the second round.
Is that right?
And then they beat Connecticut in the championship in the regional final in overtime. Beat Wichita State in the Sweet 16 by 8 points, and Wichita State was a 7. So.
VCU. I don't remember them beating North Carolina like they did.
The difference and the credit to Loyola and what they've done, just in terms of entertaining, is other than Kansas State, is they've had shots go in at the buzzer, and it's just oh man, I can't believe this team keeps doing it, and it's been, and I think they've had the most entertaining run that unfortunately was just kind of anticlimactic in beating. Because I don't remember, because I was at work yesterday, but they beat Kansas State by 12 or something like that.
It was a 12-point game, as close as it was in the second half when they beat them by whatever it was, 15 points. It wasn't close. Kansas in 2011, they had to beat Boston as a 16. They beat number 9 Illinois. They had to beat a 12 seed in Richmond. They had to beat 11 seed in VCU, which they could not do. If they would have beat VCU, they would have taken on the 8 seed Butler. So Kansas.
That's right, the VCU Butler that was the one that led to the Butler UConn, the worst national title team ever.
Yep.
Wasn't good. And again, that year there was a Kentucky Connecticut on one side and VCU Butler on the other side.
Butler did it and made there be a bad championship game.
What an easy road Kansas had. Ridiculous.
And they pissed it away.
Didn't have to play a top 30, 35 team in the country, and they still couldn't get it done. So an
Kansas
interesting
losing in the Elite Eight. We'll see what Kansas does today against Duke in the Elite Eight.
They are losing as we speak, 7-6.
Make it 10-6. Bang. 9-7, even better.
Yeah, you're wrong guy. Wrong team had the ball there.
Why isn't give me the Kansas Whites here? Kansas is at home. They're in Omaha. They're the 1 seed.
They are wearing white.
Good.
Do you know how this works at all?
Shit, I'm watching Royals Cubs. I named the right sport.
Get on the right channel, for God's sake.
Where's Michigan land on? Michigan's a football school, but they could probably be the best basketball school among whatever you want to qualify as the football schools, Florida and Ohio State and whoever else.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what they made, like 8 Final Fours now or something crazy. And
they won a national title in basketball.
Yeah, they've only won 1. They've been to 2, so they usually lose in the Final Four. And they should probably get to the title game this year. And they got a decent chance to win it all. So is Michigan the best basketball school of the football?
Hasn't Michigan, and depending if you count the vacated one,
We count
into like 4, because the Fab Five went to back-to-back ones, right, and lost to both. Got smoked by Duke once, and then lost because of the timeout. And then it was Michigan that played against Louisville in the title game a few years ago.
Yep.
Right?
And they won that because the other team got wiped off the history books, right? Oh, that's not how that works.
So
I had already forgotten that Louisville had that void, had it voided.
And it literally happened like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, 89, 92, 93, they made it. And then 13, and then this year they've made it 5 out of 8 times.
So with the football schools playing basketball, we're basing it off the football team's success.
Sure. Like Ohio State's just whatever you qualify as a football school.
I would say that obviously the combination that Florida had going there for a while in the middle 2000s where they were winning titles, winning basketball titles, that was good. Ohio State had a chance to do both for a stretch there as well. Michigan, I mean, you could make the argument that their football, they have not had much football success in the last 20 years. So that complicates that aspect of it. Michigan State has not won a national championship. They've made the playoff once in this era. Obviously, they've won titles, but have not won a basketball title recently, right? I mean, not in the last 10 years. So not since 2000. So that's something to think about as well. But yeah, I would say Michigan is making a case. At least they've got 100 years of football history, even if the last 20 have not been national championships.
Another football team good at basketball, I would add. I don't think they've won a title in basketball, and maybe not quite to the same level as some other teams have been recently, but Oklahoma's been pretty good at times. I mean, they're maybe not consistent and have times where they're bad, but have been pretty good for 30 years or so. My
favorite thing is that they've got, I would imagine Trae Young will play in the NBA for a while, but they've just going to have these two comets of professional players in Blake Griffin and Trae Young, and they aren't going to have much to show for it. I realize it's hard to do the Carmelo thing where you have 1 year and you win the title, but in both cases, they're going to wish that they got more out of those two guys in their 1 years or whatever in college. But Baker Mayfield probably should have played basketball this year, right? I mean, that would have helped his draft stock, I'm sure.
Anybody not picking Villanova
to win the whole thing from here?
Yeah.
I mean, if Duke wins this game, I think it's certainly possible that they could win the whole thing. I don't want that to happen. I would much rather have Villanova win. Villanova's the team I want to win. I think if it's not going to be Loyola, it's not going to be the Cinderella story. Then yeah, let's have it be Villanova.
I'm taking whoever wins this game right now to win the whole thing. Duke or Kansas.
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts.
This is me being Paul Feinbaum saying that the SEC title game is the real national title game. That whoever wins this is the team that's going to win it going forward.
This was the worst year for my bracket. Was it the worst for your brackets?
I honestly have not looked at my bracket since I turned
to shit.
Yep, and At work, we had a little competition, and I got an email earlier this week that I had the worst bracket of about 18 people.
Really?
Yeah. So, and it had a Final Four that consisted of Arizona, of course. Why would I not pick Arizona? Villanova, Gonzaga, and Michigan State. And I think I had Arizona and Michigan State playing each other in the title game, so that did not help matters at all. But yeah, just not good picks.
I know for mine, depending what happens in this Duke-Kansas game, I've got Kansas winning it all. And I did have Michigan in the Final Four, so I can have at least 2 teams, which I don't think is too bad. I'm trying to pull up my stack-in bracket challenge ones because I always forget how much it costs. So I always end up getting 2 because I pay too much money. And my second one, which I just was like, oh, let's pick completely different teams. That's the worst one I've ever had. I don't think it's close. I'm trying to pull it up. Like, I think all of my Final Four teams win out the first weekend. I'm trying to how's this going now?
I downloaded the app so I could follow my bracket, and I'm going to look right now to see how bad it's been.
Stack and bracket?
Stack and bracket challenge.
You're 89th?
89th out of
120 some.
Okay,
Charlie's 70th and 125th.
My second one is 125.
That would be Charlie's in last.
That's last. Yeah, it doesn't shock me.
Ramen, 15th.
Stacken's fourth bracket
that's bullshit.
Is fourth to last, and I am 120 out of 125. So
Scotty, 27.
In my bad one, my Final Four consisted of Virginia, North Carolina, Wichita State, and Michigan State. Most notably, I think, other than Kansas, who I had losing to Michigan State in the Elite Eight, I did not have any other teams in the Elite Eight or in the Sweet 16 right. So my first one, I did what I did for all the other teams, and my second one was just basically let's do chalk with 1 or 2 differences, and it was the wrong teams that I picked.
Wow, that is incredible. That second bracket you filled out. You only had one of the Elite Eight teams. I mean, that's great.
I think I only had one Sweet 16 team also, but maybe it was 2. It was not many. It
looks like you had 2. Looks like you had Villanova and Kansas.
The 2 guys at the top of the thing, one has Xavier, one has Arizona, and the other one has Virginia. So the guy in fourth right now has the best chance. You have to have picked Villanova to win this thing. There's another guy that's picked Duke. Another guy that picked Kansas. So that's it does suck that you have to pick the winner to win, basically.
Yeah, Stacking, you suck.
Unless you have everything but the winner, and you just accumulated so many points that you don't. Whatever, it's worth 10 points, 100 points at the end if you pick the winner. So. Leonard Hamilton apologized for his outburst last night.
I would hope so.
So he sent out a tweet, and he said he was sorry, which, they were down 4, 10, 12 seconds to go. Game's pretty much over, but apparently Michigan's not a good free throw shooting team. So, again, you foul them one more time, you got to make at least, you would think you got to make at least 2 3-pointers, and you've got enough for probably 2 more possessions. So everything had to work out perfectly. But I was just stunned that he was so stunned of the question.
Yeah, I think part of it is it's clear that maybe he didn't understand the situation of the. I mean, even at the end,
he was asking
it was a 4-point game. I mean, I just
he was acting like Dana Jacobson didn't know the situation.
Right.
When it was, no, you don't know the situation.
Yeah. And to be honest, I really don't have a problem with them not fouling there. It's a little odd, but if you're losing and you want to wave the white flag, that's your call, I guess, even if it's kind of stupid. So I didn't really care either way there. It was odd. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but
been a lot of games with a lot of fouls, a lot of replays at the end. These final minutes of games are terrible. So I'm good. It didn't last another minute. Mr. Stacken, what do we got? What do we got here?
Culver's today.
Culver's. You're switching.
We are.
What do we got?
Got an extra
Does Dairy Queen know that you're cheating on Dairy Queen?
Well, when they bring back the apple pie blizzard, then I won't be cheating on them anymore.
What do you got?
Switch it up every once in a while. We got.
I just want you to know that basically sounds like the equivalent of telling your girlfriend, like, oh yeah, once you start wearing that one nightie again, then I'll stop sleeping with this other girl.
Seems reasonable.
It's a Nestle Crunch salted caramel concrete mixer.
R.I.P.
When does Baby Sacken get to eat some food here? He's 3 months?
3 months, and he might be teething. Here, he might be getting his first tooth, so I have a feeling it'll be sooner than later. Probably the 8 or 9 month mark.
Is there with the baby food, the shitty baby food stuff?
We'll have to probably give him a little bit of that, but we'll mix in some other good stuff here. We got to make sure he's, doesn't succumb to just the Gerber quality.
Gerber's
good.
Malnourished.
Right.
Villanova.
So big.
We gotta wait till whoever wins this shit game between Duke and Kansas.
Were you talking about
yes.
Leonard Hamilton not following last night?
I'm fine if he didn't or he didn't, but he handled it very poorly.
Poor.
Yeah, the interview, or you talked about the interview with Dana Jacobs.
We are, man. We're talking about it.
Okay.
I had it on mute. I had it on mute at first, and they were talking. And then he almost walks away. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So then I have to unmute it, and then they continue. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, what would you expect?
The fact that I assume that interview took place before the press conference. So how does he not did he not pick up between then and, I would have at least said something saying, hey, I just said something stupid. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize the question. But for a coach to not understand the situation there, I mean, considering you're paid to know the situation, is kind of stupid.
I don't have too much to say on it, except I always assume there are more times than any of us know where coaches are thinking about something else and don't know the situation and make errors like that, and then just have to be like, oh, well, but in some cases they get lucky and it works out for them and they win anyways, and then they're just like, yep, got bailed out there.
But how many times do you have it in this tournament where teams are down by 12 and they're following with
that's
15 seconds left. I mean, and this to go to the Final Four, it's just it's ridiculous.
Because you send them to the line, you hope I assume it was they were in the double bonus, so you hope they can miss one. You're down 5. You got to get the ball. You got to get a 3. At that point, you'd be down 2. Hopefully, there's maybe 4 seconds to go. You foul them one more time. They didn't have any timeouts, so then you got to hope they miss 1 out of 2 and get a quick heave and a hoe. So
maybe if they weren't so shitty in the first half with 15 turnovers, they wouldn't have had to be in that position. Or maybe if you don't take a 3-pointer, just go for 2 with 10 seconds left.
That was a bad.
So decision making all the way around, not great for Florida State.
I would say equally as odd was Nevada. They have to foul at the end of their game. They don't have enough fouls. They had 4 fouls for that half. So
that's right. I forgot about that. You don't see that situation very often where you're fouling really not late, with 40 seconds left, but with 12. That's how come we got to keep doing that. We don't have enough yet.
Sometimes you see that in high school.
What before the ball got thrown in?
Can you do that, or what's
I think that's basically an intentional foul in that situation.
Is that possession?
I always took it as you can do it, but it depends on how obvious you make it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're really running the risk of it being an intentional foul, man.
Stacken, I would prefer Duke win this game because I have a lot more interest in Villanova-Duke than Villanova-Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that, or do you care who wins this game?
Well, I think if I want any shot at the
okay. Yep.
You can do that first. Just say that
Bracket
first, and then we'll go to the next one.
Bracket comes first. Who'd you pick? You pick Villanova?
Actually, I probably need Duke. I don't know. I have Villanova winning in 1, and I have them playing Kansas, which is dumb. But I have Duke winning another, and I don't know, to have any chance at some cold hard cash. I think I need. I don't know. I think I'm really out regardless. So I guess I'd probably rather have Duke because Duke Villanova would be sensational, and Kansas is not played a complete.
You're in 15th now, picking Villanova. You're in 41st
right now. If Jalen Brunson comes back, Villanova's a Final Four team next year again. I'm already penciling them in.
All right, second hashtag ratings talk. What's CBS or whoever's, is it TBS or CBS? That's got
TBS.
What's TBS want the national title game to be for hashtag mega ratings through the roof?
Chicago Duke.
I think that's the right answer. I think I agree that it's Chicago Duke.
How goddamn great would that game be?
I think they would would mostly be okay if it's Chicago, Kansas also, but they want Chicago Duke.
But Michigan has such a big following. Maybe it's just more Michigan football that I really don't think that there is any wrong national championship game you can get with any of the 5 teams remaining. I think that we're set up here for a very good Final Four. Of course, if it's Villanova versus Duke, that's going to be sensational. Even Villanova, Kansas isn't bad, but you have some blue bloods in there, which is good. But I think the Loyola Chicago story would be so sensational that I agree with you. I think Chicago.
Why are you saying sensational all this time? How many times have you said sensational in the last 5 minutes? I think you've said it like 4 times. It's very odd.
You know what the word is, Marcus? The word is reciprocal.
Yeah.
He likes sensational as much as dumb shit likes to say reciprocal. That's the word, reciprocal.
My apologies. I did not know that I was using that word.
No, I mean, I just felt like you said it like 30 seconds ago. If he says it again, I'm calling him out on it. Then like 10 seconds later, you said it again. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
I'm sorry. My vocabulary, my thesaurus is not currently working.
You got to work on it.
But I think any matchup, you have a great storyline in Loyola Chicago, but you have Michigan. I think any matchup that we get is going to be very, very good, and I'm looking forward to it.
Trump says reciprocal a lot.
That's too big of a word for him.
I honestly have had no
idea.
Goddamn
ridiculous. It is goddamn.
Twitter or
no, just in speeches. There was somebody Daily Show or somebody did a thing and it showed him saying the word over and over and over and over again all of his speeches.
Well, I'll say
a couple of days ago. It was like, Jesus Christ.
I'll at least say that Stacken knows what sensational means. There's no way Trump knows what.
Well, he knows what it means. He uses it. You know about China and trade, it's got to be reciprocal. I'm like, yes, we got it. It's like he enjoys the word very much. It's been an odd tournament, Mr. Summit League, because Kansas State made a run, and if they would have made the Final Four, it would have been the most piss-poor run ever, just the teams they knocked off. A 16 seed, an 11 seed, not good. And then it's similar with Chicago. I think all of us here had them beating Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all expected them to beat Kansas State.
Yes.
Tennessee is probably the best team they played. They beat them, again, these buzzer beaters.
Yep.
Nevada, probably the second best team. So it's not a shock they won any of these games. And it's weird because they didn't pull off a huge upset. They didn't beat a Duke or Kansas or Villanova, or Carolina. They didn't pull off this huge surprising thing. So and they're a pretty good team. So it's not and they're an 11 seed out of the Missouri Valley. So it's not a complete shock that they've done this, but just the roads to get to where you got to go, it's not been difficult for them or Kansas State or any of these teams.
No, I mean, the South was a complete cluster, and with all the upsets and stuff. I mean, you didn't have any of the top 4 seeds make it to the regional. I mean, that's
what you had one of the top 8.
It was right. It was a 5, a 9, an 11, and a 7. I mean, that's when's that ever happened? So
never.
Right. I mean, so I don't know. Loyola, I thought, was going to play good with just about anyone, and of course, you have to beat these teams like Tennessee and Miami. But I actually thought Nevada was going to beat them just because of what they can do offensively. Loyola does things very well, but they don't do anything great. I feel like they're a very sound team. They're probably one of the most sound teams in the tournament, which is why they have they're in the final.
Is that code for white?
No, it is not.
Well, for me, it is.
But they're very good defensively. They shoot well from threes. They don't turn the ball over that much. That's what you need to do to be successful in this tournament. Oh, and make free throws. We've seen a lot of poor free throw shooting.
They're real gritty, good team players.
Right?
Hustle, a lot of grit, Charlie. There's a lot of grit, I think, being shown out there.
Hashtag we are all gritnesses to Loyola.
We are.
Sister Jean.
Sister Jean still made it another week, so 1 week to go for Sister Jean. Stacking, you're making your call right now. Villanova with Brunson comes back. They're going to the Final Four again.
Yep.
Let me as well make a similar statement. Nevada. I have Nevada penned in. Nevada. Final Four next year.
I don't think – are the Martins back? I don't think the Martin twins are back next year.
They are juniors.
Oh, they are juniors. Okay, well then, yeah.
And we get our guy Thurman from Omaha, so big boost to Thurman. Give me 10.
I kept looking for him on the bench. Was he on the bench? I never saw him.
I assume so. Big bastard. So they bring back 3 of their top 4 of their top 5. So give me Musselman and his wife.
May I just say that Kansas State also brings back 7 of their 7 scores, so I think that's a team to watch out for. And then I obviously Sexton's leaving, but Alabama could be a very sneaky pick next year, and Duke with Zion Williamson coming in there. There's a lot of – it's going to be very – I will say that I'll kind of put Duke and Villanova in right away. If, Bridges comes back for Michigan State, we'll see what they can do. They were awful. Yeah, they were awful. But then, yeah, I like the Nevada pick, and I think it's going to be very intriguing next year. I'm already looking forward to the season next year. We're not even done with this.
Hey, no, is there? Baseball hasn't even started yet. Goddamn.
Right.
So this tournament will be remembered for Chicago and Virginia losing. Don't think I'll remember much, I guess, just how terrible my bracket was. But I don't think – because there hasn't been, I guess, that great game yet. I'm still waiting. Has there been that great game?
Well, what do you qualify as? What does it need to be a great game? Because
like something I'm going to remember tomorrow afternoon. Because there's no game like you say. If you asked me what's been like my favorite,
UMBC.
Obviously, it's Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I mean we're all going to remember that and all the Chicago buzzer beaters. But has there been like that great, like
Nevada coming back on Cincinnati?
Beat down. What was it?
Nevada coming back on Cincinnati. They were down 22 points.
Yeah, it's one of those things where one team's up 20 and then they make the comeback. I'm talking like a fucking
great game.
It was if one team's beating the other by 20 points for 30 minutes, it's fine, and you make the comeback. I'm talking about a fucking like this Duke Kansas game was looking to be. They were 20-20 with 10 minutes to go, and now they can't score, so that's not good.
I mean, how about Loyola and Nevada in the Sweet 16? I mean, that game.
Sure. I didn't see much of it. But
Loyola was down 12, then they got up. Then Nevada made their customary second half run to take the lead. Loyola fought back. They make that 3 to push it to a 4-point lead, and then Nevada hits a 3. You have the fouls in between. I mean,
Houston. I think Michigan.
That
Houston
was a great game. That was a great game.
Michigan Houston, from what I remember, that was probably up there for me.
Yeah, the ponytail guy scoring, Michigan making the buzzer beater at the end.
Think about that. Houston, I'm not saying that Houston would have could Houston be in the Final Four? They arguably –
yeah.
I mean, I guess it'd be Florida State and Houston. That would have been
great,
rather intriguing. And think about if South Dakota State could have just beat Ohio State, I think they would have knocked off Gonzaga.
I think they would have lost by 20 points to Gonzaga.
They didn't have
so unimpressive here in this.
Like what? I mean, Gonzaga. I mean, they beat the shit out of Ohio State for the most part. They were ahead by a lot. Ohio State tied it up, and then Gonzaga ended up winning by like a dozen. So I don't.
They just played last year. Gonzaga knew what to do. Yeah, it would have been bad.
I don't.
They didn't have the big Polish bastard in there, though.
I did not like SDSU's chances against the Zags, at least in the second round. That's the basketball. Still got, what do we got, about 3 weeks left in the NBA season, about 10 games for these teams. It's exciting because the seeds have really not been decided, except for the top 2 in each conference. Folks seem to be confident the Wolves are in. They're a game and a half up on what Denver. Denver's the 9th seed. They played Denver twice, so we'll revisit this in a few weeks.
I would just like to take 30 seconds on that 76ers Wolves game yesterday.
How was that?
The Wolves battled back to be within 8 points at halftime, and then just got their goddamn doors blown off in the third quarter. And I assume that was with their starters in. And then I flipped it back at the end. There was maybe 2 minutes left, and they had just the shittiest 5 guys the Wolves have on their roster out there. And they were making it a game. I think they got it down to 8 points. And it's just more weird stuff from Tibbs. Just he'll always leave his starters in for way too long. The other night when they played the Clippers, Doc waved the white flag with 7 minutes left. He played Towns hard until the final 2 minutes. Same thing.
What the hell?
We know that's – I know that's what he does. But then the other way, it's he pulls his starters early. The reserves are playing good. He leaves them in. And I don't know if that's the right decision or not, but it sure was weird.
I would also like to just, while we're on Wolves talk here, I took a look at their final 10 games, and if they don't go 8-2 in this stretch, it is a disappointment.
Oh, to me, it's a soft stretch.
It's a relatively easy 10 games that they have.
I don't think 8-2 is necessary, but yeah,
Well, I think wouldn't you rather be the 3 seed right now?
Well, yeah, you would be, but they're going to piss their pants. The Wolves are going to piss their pants at least 2 more times.
Actually, right now, I kind of like where the Wolves are at the 7th spot because I'd like to go take Golden State on right now.
No.
Golden State would also like to take Minnesota on as well.
Wait a second, though.
No, you don't want to play them. You don't want.
Jimmy Butler's going to come back before the end of the regular season. Steph Curry's out minimum 3 weeks here. So he's not quite right here. I think that SDSU, who the fuck?
I don't like SDSU's chances either, to be honest.
No, I don't either. I think Minnesota would make it interesting with Golden State. Now, obviously, I would much rather be in the 3. I think I'd much rather be in the 3-6 position. Would you rather take on Portland? I think certainly they could beat Portland. But Golden State right now is not nearly as formidable as we've been accustomed to seeing them be, the last few years and for much of this year. Injuries have certainly kind of hit them hard.
The Wolves are already 1-1 in this 10-game stretch. So they have to go 8-1.
8-1. Yep.
And they've got Denver twice.
Yep.
They've got Utah.
Yep.
They're at the Lakers.
Yep.
They've got Memphis twice. They'll beat the fuck out of Memphis. Atlanta's no good. Dallas no good. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 wins there. Hopefully you can get 5. I'd say 5-3 would be fine as long as you don't lose both to Denver.
I'm just saying I think they should be able to go 8-2 down the stretch here.
I think they lose to Denver. I think they lose at the Lakers.
The Lakers, no way. Lake Show's done, man. I think
Lakers.
I would give you the Nuggets, but that would be about it. I think they should. Now, I'm not saying they will. I say they should be able to go 8-2 given this schedule. And I think going 8-2 would get them. It would probably jump them 3 spots up, maybe 4.
3.
Well, everyone's separated by what, 2.5 games. So,
Portland's interesting. I think Portland's the 3rd best team. I think Portland's the only team that could give anybody a series. Golden State or Houston. Spurs, Thunder, no. Pelicans, no. I like Portland as a 3. And then on the east side, the same old shit on the east. People like Toronto. I have no idea. What are we doing?
Does anyone think someone besides the Cavs is going to win the East?
No.
Now, I'll say this. I'm not as cocksure about the Cavs as I am the last 2 or 3 years, but I still think the Cavs – the Cavs right now remind me of, the Lakers where they would rest Shaq for 30 games. They'd be like, oh no, they're the 3 seed. And it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, you still got to beat the Lakers. So I don't know. This just reminds me of now. I don't know. I don't think the Cavs are going to win the finals, but I think that's what they're going to do to the East, more or less.
They're going to have to win games 125 to 115, and they can do that.
A first-round matchup with Washington, though, would be very intriguing. And if they got Philadelphia, too, somewhere or somehow, that would also be quite interesting. Boston
and Cleveland in the second round. That's the series. And then Toronto, people are acting like Toronto's somehow different or they're better. How are they? They're the same team. They're no different.
Don't they have Serge Ibaka?
Yeah, they've had. I don't understand why people are excited about Toronto. Hopefully, Philadelphia can knock off Toronto. That'd be all types of fun. But if Toronto's in the Eastern Conference Finals, then that's nothing I'm interested in.
How about I interest you in a Toronto-Portland NBA Finals?
No.
Well, I like how Chris thought about it for half a second, and then it was just very quickly to no. Not interested.
Anything Toronto related? No. Toronto.
Wow. Shitting on the Maple
Leafs. Acting like Dwayne Casey's this great coach. It's like, well.
Okay. I watched him with the Wolves. I know.
Whatever makes you excited there. Marcus, your World Series pick. Yankees versus who? Yankees Dodgers.
I'd like to say that that's not how it's going to be, but how can you possibly pick against the Yankees at this stage? So Yankees on the one side. Let's just go with the wet dream World Series, Yankees Cubs.
Cubs. What is again? Okay,
ratings that beget more ratings that beget more ratings. Setting off a decades-long war between the two franchises.
Would be it. What is your issue with the Cubs again?
Me?
Yes.
They're just nauseating.
I mean, Krins is wearing the hat, so I figured I might as well pick him.
Yeah, kind of.
I just don't. Oh my God, Yankees and the Cubs. It's the two.
Oh, what's becoming the Cubs? What?
Because now that they've won, people are just like, oh my God, the Cubs. But I mean, they're still better. They're still better than our friends in St. Louis, who, even though they're the best fans in baseball, I much rather would have the Cubs in the World Series than I would the Cardinals.
Does anybody else have any qualms with other teams like stacking hands with the Cubs?
I don't have. It's like I just think there's too much that's been made about them.
They didn't win for 110 fucking years. I mean, shit.
But I understand what Stacken's saying, and that's how I felt about the Red Sox for the 5 years after they won the World Series in 2004.
I can see that. Yeah.
I don't feel the same way about the Cubs right now, though. Now, that's not to say that I love or like the Cubs. I just don't care either way.
What I would say is that all these Cub fans existed before they won the World Series. Like, they were out there.
Yep.
It's just a matter of now they had something to crow about. It's like when they suck for 108 years and don't win anything, then they're going to be in the background a little bit. Now they spend and they get all these guys and it's annoying, but there's not much I'm going to lose sleep over.
Well, I'm not losing sleep over it either. They're just
okay.
You know the thing, Charlie. Yankees are good. Yankees appear to be set up for multiple championships here over the next handful of years. And everybody hates the Yankees. But I'm sure we would all like it if our favorite team did what the Yankees did.
Hell yeah.
So that's
I think like half the reason people like the Yankees is jealousy. It's because if they're our age or a little older, you remember all the World Series they won in the 90s. And like depending on, I mean, it's different in different sports leagues, but there's always some teams that just load up in free agency. And, like, I don't know, I mean, you guys are Twins fans. I'm sure there have been plenty of times you're thinking, like, why the hell aren't you paying this guy more money because he's good? Or why aren't we going to get this guy? And people just wish that, their favorite team would be like, oh, that's the best guy? Yeah, we'll spend whatever it takes to get him because we can do that.
The worst part about being a Twins fan is that the Twins actually could do that, and for a long time they just wouldn't. So That was
baby.
Lance Lynn, give it to me.
I like the Twins. This is like the greatest offseason they've ever had
because they tried.
Because they signed, Lance Lynn, who I think is going to do really well. A 1-year deal. Hopefully, he stays for longer.
They traded for a guy, Odorizzi.
Traded for a guy.
That wasn't a free agent thing.
They got Logan Morrison again. They got Logan Morrison late. They got Lance Lynn and Logan Morrison like in the beginning of March. Very begrudgingly.
Logan Morrison was the middle of February.
It was very begrudgingly at the end of the deal in a very odd free agent year. They're like, well, nobody else is signing these guys, and I guess we could have them for a 1-year deal worth $8 to $12 million. We're not going to, spend $50 million or anything for 4 or 5 years, but
they signed
a 1-year deal.
They signed bullpen guys, and it was literally the first time they've ever spent that much money. Multi-year deal on a bullpen guy, right? So that was stupid.
So good for the Twins for, by their standards, breaking the bank. By anybody else's standards, just
spending
keeping up with everybody else in the deal. So Yankees appear to be good. Nathan, what are you looking forward to? What is going to pique your interest at the beginning of August as far as baseball is concerned here?
Oh, my God. Did you really just call me Nathan? What the hell?
Nathan.
You could have called you Nathaniel instead.
What if I call your kid Nathan?
Well, you'd have to put Noah in front of it. Then he's really in trouble. Noah Nathan. Get over
Noah Nathan?
Noah Nathan.
NNS. NN Stackin? Oh, my heavens. He's a dentist.
NDS. That's my initials. But anyway.
Boo and initials.
Oh, we talk about baseball in August. You're going
to have your picks. The picks are coming up here. Baseball starts in 4 days.
Yeah, I'm going to have
picks done here.
I'm going to have a preview post in the stack here coming up on Thursday, so that'll be tons of fun. So are we making our picks now or what?
Sure, whatever you want to say about the baseball, the Twins, the Yankees, Houston, Dodgers, Cubs, Washington, Oakland.
I'm a little hesitant to say that the Red Sox are going to be oh wow, you gotta finish that. I'm a little hesitant to say that the Red Sox are truly going to
challenge
give the Yankees a run for their money in the division, but I do think sure.
Literally a run for their money.
Yeah, yes, run for it.
By the end of the year, do you think they'll have all their horses firing on one cylinder?
I think so. I think that's a great I saw that tweet. I think that's a very, very plausible.
It's apropos.
It's very fun. Maybe we'll see Ohtani. Maybe he'll be a deal in August by that point.
Will he be one player or two for the Angels?
He might be 1.5. You never know. I think the NL Central is the division that I'm most intrigued by because obviously you have the Cubs with signing Yu Darvish, and they have Chris Bryant and all the like. Then of course the Milwaukee Brewers going out and getting the guys that they did really intrigues me. And then you can never factor out St. Louis. I think they're certainly a viable threat, but so it's those three, and then the Pirates and
Reds are
the Reds. So that's going to be fun for those two woe-begone franchises. I guess that's the most intriguing division. Then also I think it's kind of worth looking at just to see if Baltimore starts to really suck. And it's the trade deadline. Does Manny Machado get traded? I don't think he will, but if the Orioles know that they're not going to get him, maybe you try and squeeze a couple of high-end prospects out of, the Yankees or the Red Sox, so some team like that. I don't think you're going to see a team like the Astros make a run at him, or, any team that's trying for a wild card spot in a non-major market that's not New York or Chicago. I would say that's an intriguing storyline for me to watch, is just how bad the Orioles might be, and then is Machado on the chopping block.
So NL Central and Machado. Charlie, Anything you're interested in? Astros are really good. Talk about your White Sox are in the middle of a rebuild.
Yeah, I was going to say, as the resident White Sox fan, I'm intrigued to see if they have the patience and/or the stones to stick with the rebuild. Have it take multiple years. You know, I don't know. They might only win 60 games or whatever. But if they can say, like, we are going to stick with that and slowly build it, or if they're going to panic and, you know, change things. And then World Series picks. I felt like doing Yankees and Cubs, but since Traxler did that, I will pick different, and I will go Indians and Dodgers.
Indians, Dodgers.
Okay. Oh, picks here.
Marcus, what is Amon's thing? He thinks that he's looking at the bottom of the AL Central.
Yeah,
I think the Tigers are the worst. I think he thinks the Royals are the worst, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like the White Sox are going to be the third best team. Is that?
Yes.
I mean, that feels like.
I think the White Sox are a little better than those two, but I think like people are saying, you know, Detroit's going to win like 68, 70 games, and I don't
think so. I think they were going to be shitty. I saw their rotation a while back, and holy cow, that's bad.
And Kansas City always seems to outperform what people expect.
They kept Alex Gordon. Maybe he's worth a few wins, but
he should.
Yeah.
Any division picks for Marcus? Wild cards division, the MVPs and the Cy Youngs and such.
The MVPs. I don't feel like this is a playoff season for the Twins. I don't think they'll be in the wild card. I feel like they'll be within 3 games either way, so between 78 and 84 wins. And I realize 84 wins probably would get them in the wild card, right?
It'd be close.
It'd be close. What do people think are going to happen to the Rangers this year?
Rangers no good.
Rangers are going to be bad. So I'll say.
Maybe you want to say be good. They can be good.
I'll say Yankees, Indians, Angels to win the division.
Angels! You're on the Angels to win the division.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Houston.
Holy fuck.
Houston, and then I'll have the Angels and Boston in the wild card. How's that sound?
Okay. That's what you like there.
National League, I have less of a confident idea of what the hell's going on. Eastern Division, who the hell's going to be good in the East?
The Nationals.
The Nationals, by default, I suppose, huh?
Cubs.
Nationals, Cubs, Dodgers.
It seems like it's very NBA-like this year. It's going to be Houston, the Yankees, Washington, the Dodgers, the Cubs, Cleveland.
I really have no idea who the 2 wild cards will be. How is anybody supposed to know? St. Louis and another team
in the National League.
In the National League. I was going to say another team in the Central, but Padres, they're not going to be that good, right? I mean, I realize they've gotten some guys.
No, they're not going to be good.
No. So let's just say Arizona.
Arizona again. Stack, and which of these 6 teams are least likely to win the division? My pick would be Cleveland.
I would agree with that.
Because the Twins would win the division instead?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I would agree with that.
I would love that. I would love.
Is there any other division here that you're like, well, I think
how many wins would the Twins need to win the division, do you think?
You have Cleveland have a bit of an all. I like the Twins, win 93, 94.
Okay.
You have Cleveland.
I would say minimum 90. I think the only other division that you could say, maybe not, would be the East if the Red Sox could overtake the Yankees. But I don't see that happening. I agree with your assessment. I will say that the Madison Bumgarner's hand injury has thrown a wrench into my plans in the NL because I thought the Giants were going to make a wild card, and now
Jeff Samardzija also banged up. Jeff Samardzija.
Jeff, you're hurt. You're hurt, Jeff.
Jeff is hurt.
I do like that they have Evan Longoria and Andrew McCutchen. That's good, but I think I might have to stay with the Rockies. Are we thinking the Rockies are going to play?
No.
No, yeah, you weren't you on them pretty early last year?
I was.
I'll give you that.
I read. I just need to point this out. When I was on my trip last week, I bought a New York Times. I don't know if I have it here, but there was a comparison of Nolan Arenado to Mike Schmidt, a modern day Mike Schmidt, and I said, "Hey, I don't know about that." So,
where were you at? Was doing what?
South Bend?
When I drove to Indiana.
On the radio or what?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean, he's an awfully good player.
He's fine.
So these picks are subject to change, but
no, they're not. They're not.
Okay.
Lock it
well,
in.
I mean, your blog is not printed yet, so
it is not. It is not. But right now, NL, Nationals win the East, Cubs win the Central, Dodgers win the West, Brewers are a wild card, and I will say the Rockies right now.
Rockies, I'm a Brewer. That's what I wanted last year late. Rockies.
I'm a little concerned with I think the Giants, if Madison Bumgarner were healthy, how long is he out? 6 to 8 weeks, I think.
About 2 months. I would guess 2 months.
So they could stay afloat because I do like the additions of Andrew McCutchen and Evan Longoria, but their pitching could be a bit of an issue here. So I think they will be just on the outside looking in. On the AL side, Yankees win, Indians win, Astros win. Wild cards will be Red Sox, and then I'm very tempted to take the Angels because of Trout and Ohtani, but I will go with the Twins with the Lance Lynn edition. I think that's great. Let's see. AL MVP is going to be Mike Trout if he stays healthy.
You cannot pick Mike Trout. This is the new rule we've been going with here for recent years. We know he's the best player. We know he's the best. This is the LeBron, Jordan, Brady, Manning.
Okay, then let's go Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton,
okay.
MVP of the AL.
Any other MVP picks?
NL MVP, I'll go Bryce Harper. Because why the hell not? And hopefully it's not his last year in Washington, but it certainly could be. Cy Young, what do we got here? AL. Oh shit. I mean, who's a good pitcher on the? I mean, Dallas Keuchel, of course.
Chris Sale is a good pitcher. Justin Verlander, also a good pitcher. Corey Kluber, good pitcher.
Yeah, I know. I just, you know what? Okay, we'll go Chris Sale. No, we won't. No, we're gonna go Dallas Keuchel from the Astros.
Keuchel.
And I will say on the NL side, we'll go with Yu Darvish. Makes a big impact for the Cubs. I will say Yu Darvish is your NL Cy Young.
Charlie, any?
Oh no, Clayton Kershaw. How could I forget?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
No.
Okay, we'll stick with Yu Darvish. We'll stick with Yu Darvish.
Charlie, any picks for players?
Let's see. I got to go teams first.
Okay.
You want to do AL or NL first?
American League, the better league.
All right, AL. East, Yankees. Central, Indians. West, Astros. That's boring. Wild card. Okay, fine. Wild card. We'll go.
Mix it up.
We'll go with the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox.
All right.
I only mixed it up with one of those.
Good enough.
National League. East, Nationals, I guess. Boring. Central, Cubs. West, Dodgers. I take the Dodgers. I picked them to win the World Series. Wild card, San Diego. I always got to pick San Diego because that's where my sister lives. And then also the Cincinnati Reds because why the heck not?
Good. Reds fathers.
I hope this is the year where we get a playoff in before the playoff, and the Twins are in that game and they lose, and so they're not even in the playoffs. That'd be funny.
I think every year, as the non-Twins fan, I make a Twins prediction. I'm going to say the Twins go 85-77 and just miss out on the playoffs.
They just miss out. Any MVP picks? Pitcher?
Let's go Cy Young for both sides. It's weird sometimes. Let's go NL, the third starting pitcher for the Dodgers.
You did what you did. You did Gio Gonzalez, whether that was last year, a couple
I'm
years
doing
ago.
that again for the
So
AL.
third pitcher for the Dodgers.
The AL, I'm going to go the second pitcher for the Yankees.
Yankees, Severino would be their one.
That's not the worst. Oh, Severino, yeah.
Number 2, I guess, would be Tanaka or Sonny Gray. Your pick is Tanaka.
Going with Tanaka. And then I'll go Aaron Judge for AL MVP and NL MVP. Gosh, I don't know who I'm going to take. I'll take whoever the third baseman is for the Reds.
Suarez, I believe it is a gentleman named Suarez.
That would be a shocker if this Suarez gentleman were to win.
He's a very good player. I don't know if he's going to win MVP.
Should I do Reds or Padres? Because if they're going to make the World Series, they got to have someone do well.
Would it have been Kenneth Vargas had he not been waived?
He would have been the guy.
Yeah, short-lived. Marcus, favorite Kenny Vargas Reds moment.
Did he even play a game? I mean,
no, he didn't.
No. So my favorite moment was when he got off the plane, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not. We actually don't need you." And he turns around and calls the Twins, and they're like, "Yep, we'll take you back." So.
Third pitcher for Dodgers, we'll say it's Alex Wood. So solid picks. Good dark African American picks.
And then if you want to make it sound better for the MVPs, we can just go with an infielder as opposed to necessarily a third baseman.
Well, Joey Votto would be
there. We go. I forgot about Votto. We'll go with Votto.
He finished a very close second, and he's who I would have voted for last year. So reasonable pick from Sioux City. I've got Nationals over Yankees. And Nationals got to do something here. You're falling into Virginia and Nova territory damn quick. So do that, please. The Twins are tough. Marcus, why don't you think they're going to – what goes wrong here?
I feel like things kind of went a little too well last season. And I actually have a hunch that the pitching will be okay. I mean, it'll let them down for sure.
It'll be better than last year.
It will be. I think the offense will struggle a little bit more.
The offense.
Because it was pretty good last year. Had some balance. I think they'll have some issues. I think Sano will struggle this year.
Oh, come on.
He doesn't have a domestic violence issue now to worry about.
Apparently, he's as heavy as he's ever been. So,
I watched him today, and he seems fine. Like all these people say he's fat, he's always fat. I mean, it hasn't affected him.
Is he?
I don't understand.
I think he's. I don't think it's really a weight related thing. I think he's just going to struggle, and maybe it'll just take him a few months to get it going. I think Buxton will have a solid year, but I would expect Dozier to take some sort of regression.
No 30 home runs? No 30?
I mean, maybe 30 home runs, but how about he hits like 230? I mean,
somebody said, I don't know who the fuck this was. Somebody said that he was a very consistent. I think I read something where he said he was very consistent. And, well, his first halves are bad. His second halves are great.
So that's the opposite of consistency.
So he's consistent in that is similar, but he's not consistent in that it's very good and very bad. So that's.
I have a feeling the Logan Morrison thing may not work as well as people are hoping.
If I get 25 from him, that'd be good.
Oh yeah, and I mean if he does that, that'd be great. But I don't know. I come back to the theory that everything went pretty well last year. And I feel like they're probably a team that finishes a couple games out of the wild card.
That they don't have any holes anymore, so that is good.
Nothing obvious, yeah.
So Drexel's calling for a little bit of a regression to the mean for the Twins based off last year.
I also think that I think the bullpen. The fact that they shored that up, that at least will make it a little bit more enjoyable to watch, I think.
Hey, can we ask how Dusty Baker is going to screw up the Washington Nationals in the playoffs this year?
I believe they fired him.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
That's how
he's going to be in the stands yelling down at the players during the game, and it's going to get him out of the moment.
You know what?
The guy like that Shooter McGavin hired.
I should have just said how are the Washington Nationals going to screw it up, but I remember Dusty Baker was so bad last year. That's why they fired him. So how are the Washington Nationals going to screw it up in the playoffs this year?
Losing to a 16 seed.
Blake Bortles.
They're going to be up by 2 going into the bottom of the 9th. They're going to give up a 2-run homer, and then they're going to give up back-to-back singles. And then with guys on first and second, they're going to accidentally hit a guy, and then they're going to balk in the winning run. That's how they're not
going to use their best pitcher when they should. That's my idea.
Is that for Caitlin too?
Whoever that should be.
I was so excited because we're very appreciated attack in first place.
The Twins, I want to take them to win this division. It's very difficult to do. Okay, here we go. Yankees, Twins, Astros.
Yeah. Wow.
Red Sox, wild card.
they beat.
There's not. I mean, this is again cut and dry. Top 5-6 teams.
What do you think is going to happen to Cleveland here?
Angels. What do you think is going to happen to Cleveland?
Why will they not be?
Cleveland lost some gentlemen.
Okay.
I mean, they've had. Their pitching, their injuries have not been great. They got Jason Kipnis, who I don't think has much left in the tank.
The Kipster.
They lost some guys. They lost some with their bullpen. They lost Brian Shaw and Joe Smith. I think their bullpen. So I think injuries, I think, will be the deal that leaves Cleveland just out of the whole damn thing. So that's what I'm going with there.
I think them trying to use former Los Angeles Laker, they're losing former Los Angeles Laker Brian Shaw will hurt them. Yeah, I think it's going to be a struggle.
Brian Scott.
We can call him Brian Shaw.
Yeah, Brian Shaw. Who's he fortunate?
Didn't they have a Shaw? Well, who was the Shaw guy on the Kobe?
Yeah, it's just spelled differently.
Yeah, spelled
some backup point guard.
God damn it! I'm trying to make a joke, and you're just
I know what you're
crapping all over it. Oh man!
Yankees will beat the Twins because that's what happens.
If they had Byron Scott, they would definitely be bad. They would finish. They would about 65.
Houston. Say Houston beats Boston again.
Again.
Yeah, I had Yankees over my Astros, so that's a disappointment there.
So the Twins get beat by the Yankees again?
Well, yeah, of course they will. Of course. Wouldn't it? Yeah. Nationals, Cubs, Dodgers. I like the Mets and Cardinals for wild cards. I like the Mets in the wild card.
The Mets. Meet the Mets.
I like the Nationals over Cubs in the championship series. MVP will be Buxton.
What?
The Cy Young.
Second to Mike Trout, right? I mean.
Well, Trout's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Buxton, your MVP. Chris Sale has still not won a Cy Young. He was an early favorite last year for about 4 months. He's got to win one. He is too good not to. So finally, this will be I picked him forever, and last year I didn't pick him, and he almost won it. So Chris Sale there.
This is also the yearly time where I say I miss you, Chris Sale. Come back to the White Sox.
National League. MVP.
Good seeing you.
We love you.
Good seeing you.
Hi. Hello. Hello.
So we said hi also, Stackin.
I did not. I should have said that.
Cy Young, Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. I got you for a second. The MVP. Oh, balls.
I don't know what player that is.
Marcell Ozuna, outfielder for the Cardinals. MVP.
What?
Mix it up here, goddammit.
Pulling to Charlie.
Pick the Giants to win it all, too. Jeez.
Yeah, I did. That was a poor decision on my mark. So there. What do you think of those picks, Zach, and those two you heard?
Do you like that?
I like that. I like that.
Do you like that?
The Giants winning it all, huh?
Well, last year, no, I have Nationals over Yankees. I have the Twins winning the division. I have Buxton as the MVP.
Yeah, I heard the Buxton MVP.
Chris Sale, Cy Young. Noah Syndergaard, rest of Stacken's kid, Cy Young for him.
Good.
And Marcel Ozuna.
Sure. I guess whatever floats your boat. I guess I don't have a problem with that. I realized I didn't give my World Series pick. I'll first say it's going to be Astros and Yankees in the ALCS.
I thought that was a great series last year. I thought the World Series was great. I thought the playoffs last year were great.
They were.
I'm shocked to hear that you liked something.
I want the Nationals in it.
Rare, but
I will put the Nationals in. I really wish the Astros would be in it, but I too will pick Yankees and Nationals World Series, and the Yankees win because we can never trust the Nationals. Never.
Yankees win.
I think we're probably giving the Nationals too much credit, even making the World Series.
I know, probably.
They've never won a playoff series, so that's not great.
Can I tell you, apart from the Twins being in the World Series, my dream World Series for this year I really want to see the Brewers in there against the Astros. A realistic.
Is it just so you can call them the Brew Crew?
Yeah, sure.
Which guys would the Brewers be adding between then and now?
Well, you got Lorenzo Cain. He's good. I mean, maybe Matt Garza. Is Garza still pitching? I think he is.
Matt Garza. That's not.
He's going to be part of a World Series team.
Matt Garza is no longer in the plans here for Milwaukee.
That's why I just asked. I think though the Brewers, I would like to see them in it against Justin Verlander and company.
Brewers need to add a pitcher here. They get their best pitcher's hurt. Jimmy Nelson. He's going to be gone for a little bit. He's deployed over to Iraq, so. A couple months for him. So,
I picked World Series teams. I don't remember if I picked who I said would win. I'm going to take
Cleveland.
I'm going to take the Dodgers over Cleveland.
Dodgers
winning the World Series.
Finally, the Dodgers. They've come so close. And
more importantly, Cleveland not winning the World Series, so that continues.
That's funny.
Yes, that
funny
continues.
Got anything left here? I got a little thing. If you don't got anything else, we got the hockey.
I got trivia.
You got trivia. That's good.
Wait.
How many trivias do we need? How many trivias?
One.
All the trivias.
Do you? How'd you enjoy the regional in Sioux Falls?
It was good. I had a lot of fun. I didn't go yesterday because, frankly, the two teams that I wanted to see win on Friday didn't win, so I didn't really have much interest in watching.
They routinely disappoint, I feel like.
Well, it's the tournament is set up for disappointment if you're a top seed for the most part. So
who was the most disappointed? Matt Zimmer.
Well, there's that.
Because he's a St. Cloud State grad.
So. He is. So
I've never met Zimmer. I've only followed him on Twitter. There's times where I think, this guy seems kind of odd. But sometimes I don't. I don't know. Never met him before.
Northern State won a runner-up trophy.
Cool.
They got second.
Ferris State.
USD is going to win the WNIT again. That's going to be good.
They're apparently angling to get a home game against Indiana in the next round, and they think they're going to sell the arena out tonight. I don't think that's going to happen unless I'm just out of my mind.
Well, Indiana's not packing them in, so shit.
Well, apparently Indiana drew 6,000 people for their game today, but it's like, well, I mean, who cares? Who cares? Whether it's
a national championship, Marcus? They can win the national title 2 times in 3 years.
Is Craig Smith going to be at USD next year?
Nope.
I'm surprised.
Will he be there tomorrow? No. He's going to Utah State, I think.
It's over. Yeah.
Is it for sure?
He sounds like he's the favorite, but I don't know why the hell he would turn him down.
It's not official, but it looks pretty likely.
Apparently he still has to visit Ogden. What is the city that Utah State's in? I don't remember. Logan, I think.
Logan, yeah.
Yeah, and once he does that, then he'll probably take the job. So
what school is it located in? Ogden.
Weber State. Weber State, I think.
Oh, just get these schools mixed up. I think though this would be great for. This would only help North Dakota State football recruiting if Craig Smith leaves. But I do think that him leaving would, I think, assuming Dom comes back, I think it would make SDSU the prohibitive favorites next year. And
sure would.
And may I just ask if he does leave, does Austin Hansen then get the USD job?
No. I'm sure.
Would you rather be an assistant at Utah State or head at USD?
I think I'd be the assistant.
I'd rather be the head at USD.
Oh, really? Okay.
Why do you think he got passed over for the Colorado State job instead they hired this Drake fella?
I don't think he got passed over. Oh. I think they decided
like they wanted this guy more than him. I mean, it's not like Drake is any good, so I don't know what.
I guess think as Krins and I discussed earlier this week, if Craig Smith was offered the job, he would have taken it.
Yeah,
so, but I just don't see him turning it down. So the whole idea of who was offered the job first, it's they clearly offered it to the Drake guy and he took it. I don't know. To me, it's not that difficult.
No, I don't. I guess I'm asking for
why is the Drake guy better when it seems like USD is better?
Yeah, no, I don't get that at all. Yeah, they should have picked Craig Smith. Yeah, that didn't make any sense. I agree with you there.
Yeah, no, that's what I was asking. I'm not saying Craig Smith didn't take the Colorado State.
No, but there was some scuttlebutt about in the Sioux Falls idiot media.
There was one guy. There was one idiot.
One idiot. Yes, one idiot who.
Can I get some initials?
You can figure it out.
Is it SW? Is it Southwest?
Nope. Honestly, of all the he's not really a sports guy anymore. Okay. But he is not even in the bottom 5 of idiots for. Okay.
Well, is this are we print or are we television?
Radio.
No,
I'll tell you later.
Okay, terrible. Tell me later.
Terrible. So,
and so since you guys brought up the hockey thing, I just want to point out they had 8,000, apparently 8,000 for each of the 2 nights. I don't know if that seems probably like it's about right. They had good crowds. Fans were into it. Helped that there were local teams. Sounds like it'll be coming back at some point in the future. It is interesting that this is the same weekend as the women's regionals, which I think is something Sioux Falls should try to get again. And
basketball.
They would basically have to pick between for basketball. So they would have to pick basically between these two potentially in a given year. And I noticed that Fort Wayne is hosting a women's regional in the next few years, which seems a bit odd. Yeah. So
where?
Yeah, that's the arena Fort Wayne plays in, the Allen County War Memorial Arena or whatever it is. Yeah. Where the Mad Ants play. So
I did find it kind of funny that North Dakota was the host for this for the regional. And yet they don't make the tournament, and B, they're 4 hours to the north.
Well, I think if Grand Forks or Fargo had a almost 11,000 seat arena, they'd have it there. But because the Shields Arena is so small, it's 5,000-6,000 people. That makes it tough.
But they had it in Fargo. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, they've had it there twice last year, and they're going to have it there next year too. So
where?
At Shields Arena in Fargo.
Really?
Yeah.
You mentioned Fort Wayne. I want to give a quick shout out to Fort Wayne for paying me my money as a stringer for the NAIA women's tournament. I made a solid $100.
Oh yeah,
put it in.
Did you get it in Benjamin Franklin form or to Ulysses S. Grant?
Yeah. I got it in this form.
Hold it up.
Kind of like when I got paid by ESPN, and I should have gotten paid for that SDSU Eastern. Was it? Yeah, it was Eastern Illinois playoff game, and they never paid me. So ESPN.
Well,
you'll be hearing
file a lawsuit, wrongful termination.
Last week we talked about
to the guy that got fired or resigned for cocaine or whatever recently. because he doesn't work there anymore, Stacking, so he wouldn't get it.
Who was that? The coach?
John Skipper.
Yeah, that guy.
He likes the powder.
Chris Bono going to Wisconsin wrestling, by the way.
Yeah, it's weird because
what?
Because Wisconsin doesn't pay as much as SDSU, but I assume he's getting more money. And Wisconsin wrestling is not good, but it is a Big Ten school, so it's kind of an interesting.
Lux.
You would think Wisconsin Big Ten, but you look at SDSU is like a top 10 team, and I'm like,
Wisconsin is perennially not one of the good teams in the Big Ten as far as wrestling. So that was
they will be now. They will be
now, and yeah, there is they're gonna probably pay Bono quite a bit of money, I would assume. So
Kansas up 7 with 14, 15, 16 to go. That's up 5. So yeah.
Also, real quick on the wrestling, I don't know a great deal about collegiate wrestling, but I know you can be pretty darn good and still only be like the 7th best wrestling team in the Big Ten.
Yep.
So
that conference.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yes.
It's worth pointing out that I think 6 years ago, any of us would have just said, "Yeah, just cut wrestling," and the fact that it's now a program that draws 2,100 fans for every match or whatever, that's impressive. So credit to Bono for getting that done.
It shows that we always talk about talent, and while talent is incredibly important, that coaching also matters. And if you get good coaching, you can do stuff.
Well, where does SDSU go from here, though?
They'll hire another up and coming type guy, and they'll do well.
Good.
Bring back Jason Wiles.
Oh boy, that's a rough call there.
Royal River.
Oh boy.
Isn't that where we're doing the 2-man show next?
We'll recruit him there. We'll see if he's there, and we'll see if he never wants to coach wrestling.
I think Stacken's a connoisseur of a casino. We got to go to a casino sometime.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Wherever we're going. I complained last week about
all you have to do. Come down to Sioux City, Hard Rock Casino.
We should do that.
That'd be fun.
Taking the base of the Explorers and folk.
Could do an Explorers, or could go to a Sioux City Bandits Champions indoor football game.
Bandits
2-0.
I complained last week about the media and how bad they were. This week similar, but with just the fans, with the comment of, boy, SDSU, boy, I don't know why he'd leave SDSU. Well, he doesn't coach at SDSU. Craig Smith is the coach of USD. So that it's not so much San Diego State anymore. It's just mixing up the two other schools, the red school, 120 miles away from the blue school. So that's the biggest.
Like I said yesterday, the people that just don't understand that Utah State is a better job, and it's not even close.
That's the second part of it. They're in the Mountain West. Sounds like Gonzaga. Yeah, it sounds like
stepping stone job.
Gonzaga's going to the Mountain West. Sounds like.
It sounds like maybe in the next week or two. It could happen next season.
I think that would make the Mountain West
potentially.
Huh? BYU. I think that would make the Mountain West. They're probably the second or third best mid-major. I think that would put them as the best if you want to count the AAC as a mid-major.
We would maybe need to talk about just putting the Mountain West in that next tier. I mean, they're going to have that many good.
I think you need to consistently get a good 2 or 3 teams. I mean, the Pac-12 is major right now, so. Trivia question. I got a half hour. I assume this is baseball related because why else would we?
Mine?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's hockey related.
No, you're both wrong.
Golf Masters. Name the Blacks.
No.
Tiger Woods?
No.
Tablet Asian. Does that count? That means he's racially diverse.
Because I know
which is good for genetics.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me check the results of the racial draft from Chappelle's show.
Because I know you have been paying attention to the women's basketball tournament. I want you to name me. There are 20 teams who both have the men's and women's team in the NCAA tournament. I want you. What'd you say?
It's a good question.
Good. All right.
It's fine. It's a fine question.
We're just going to go in order as I see it. Travis, Marcus, Charlie. So just offer a guess, and we'll do 6 rounds since there's
South Dakota State men and the women both made it. They both lost.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there goes my easy answer. I got to remember who's in the women's bracket now.
Marcus.
I will go with the Buffalo Bulls.
Lost to South Carolina.
Valiantly, though. Valiantly.
Let's see here. UConn men didn't make it. The Notre Dame men didn't make it. Oh, I'll go with Villanova.
You
And
are
that's it.
correct.
Not getting shut out.
Tennessee.
Yep.
Ohio State.
Yep.
Let's see. I will guess. Now the men made it. I don't know if the women made it or not. I'm going to guess Texas.
You are correct.
They should. They're the most, like, the richest sports department in the world. So
2 rounds down, 4 to go. Everyone has 2.
Eh.
You're like Spider-Man, except everyone gets 2 instead of everyone gets 1.
I got the Family Guy reference stack in. Nice job.
That
Thank
was
you.
good. That was nice. That was nice.
UCLA.
Yep.
Good.
I'm taking the cues, folks.
You're taking the cues and with good reason.
I'm probably just going to keep guessing major conference teams. So I know they've been good at women's basketball in the past. I will guess Duke.
Yep.
Yep.
Are correct.
No one's missed yet, right?
No one's
man.
missing.
We're dialed in.
I'm coming up on that pothole pretty soon here, I think.
Kentucky.
Nope.
Ooh.
That is the first miss.
Kentucky women blew it this year.
First of many.
I don't know if you know this, but the men made the tournament. They lost in the Sweet 16 to Kansas State.
Sucks.
Well, clearly it must have been a Kansas State team loaded with future NBA players that were one and done guys, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll go with Texas A&M.
You are correct.
I will stick with my reasoning the last time. I know this team's been good at women's basketball. They hail from the same state as the last one. I will say North Carolina.
No, North Carolina did not make it.
North Carolina sucks.
So
Florida State.
Florida State did make it. You are correct. This is the second to last round.
I will use the hint that is currently on my screen, and I will say Creighton.
Also, I'm in a room where I actually have to stream watching this basketball right now. I want to know how far behind I am. For me, the clock just stopped at 13:28
And
at
there's
48:47.
You are a ways behind.
13
And-
minutes.
13
Let's see.
minutes
Right now, they're showing a three-pointer from Duke on a replay that just went in, and a fist pump, and now it's cutting to commercial.
Yeah. So you're probably 3 minutes behind.
Oh, wow. So I'm way behind then.
Because I think these TV timeouts are like 2.5 minutes or 2:20 something. So,
Charlie up.
Yes. No. Yes.
I just went. Yep.
I will guess another power conference team that I know made it in the men, and we'll guess Michigan.
Yes, sir. They did.
Xavier women good yet?
No.
Boy, they fell off the shitter.
So this is the sixth and final round.
Shitter's full.
Marcus for the perfect.
Miami Hurricanes.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, it's my turn now.
Yes, sir.
I will stick regionally quite close to where Corinne said and say Cincinnati.
No, Cincinnati did not make it. So Marcus wins here. So just for second place here, I'll give.
Fuck, what are we tied at 4? Or what's the deal?
You're tied at 4 here. You each get one more guess just to see if you can get this.
I'll guess the other team in this game and say Kansas.
No. Travis for the win.
How many teams are left?
We got 4, 5, 6 left. 6 left.
How many are major Power 5 teams? Power 6?
5.
There's one shitty team.
Oh, Kansas alley-oop. Up 4, 53-49, 12-15 left.
We're in commercial right now.
Baylor men. They didn't. Baylor men make it?
No.
They were too busy harboring a murderer again this season.
Okay, so this is we'll just stop it right here. We'll save the
A winner and 2 tied for last.
the television audience here. We'll leave them here. You missed Virginia, Oklahoma, North Carolina State, Arizona State, Missouri, and Gonzaga.
Good for Gonzaga.
I like the
Gonzaga, they're like SDSU. In it every year.
Who did Gonzaga lose to? The men in the tournament?
They lost to Florida State.
Inexplicable.
Yeah, that's right.
Disgusting.
That's right.
Disgusting. Lounge 246. It was a show. Easter's next week. Final Four is next week. April Fools on Easter. I like it a lot.
The Masters next week too.
Week
2
after.
Week after.
Okay.
Everything's up a week this year. Seems like. And like everything's early this
It's
year.
annoying.
I like how the Final Four, like the NCAA tournament next year, is all like a week late. It's
Like
the
how we
latest it
don't
can possibly be.
Oh, it is in Minneapolis. When is it next year? Is it the 7th, 8th, or when is it?
6th and 8th.
6th and 8th of the Final Four.
I would like to go to that.
Yep.
Anybody want to explain to me eggs and how eggs got involved with Easter and a bunny? How did that start?
Do I have to remind you of the South Park episode?
The South Park thing again, yes. I forgot most of it. I know there's a bunny and there's a lot of shit that goes on.
Oh, better watch it.
Sounds like a lot of stuff sounds like a lot of stuff you gotta hide or buy or lie to people about, so doesn't seem like a good thing.
The eggs?
The egg, you gotta lie about the Easter bunny, you gotta lie about where the eggs are at, you gotta lie so
Chocolate, the Reese's and Starburst.
Easter,
this is making me want to go buy some Easter candy though.
is Easter even a top 5? You got your Christmas, Thanksgivings.
I do love an Easter ham, man. I love it. I love it a lot.
I really liked Easter as a little kid. Now, I think Easter's fine. It's not one of my 3 or 4 favorite holidays.
Like we don't.
I love deviled eggs, but I can have those at almost any holiday, so it's not exclusive to Easter by any means.
Like in school, we got like Monday off, didn't we?
Yeah,
That was good.
I think, and I was going to say, the biggest reason that I probably don't care as much about Easter now is work-wise. Like, I don't work on Sunday anyways, so there's no days I get off from it. I like holidays where I get days off of work.
Yeah, I don't get any extra time off for it either. So
yeah, I don't either. It sucks.
Well, everybody's working Easter Monday. WrestleMania a couple weeks away as well, so we're damn excited about it. Stacking. Don't tear your rotator cuff.
stuff has been going on in the wrestling from what I've been reading on Twitter. There's been some stuff lately.
What stuff have you been seeing?
You got Daniel Bryan back, right? I mean,
That was a big surprise. That was a big surprise.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't a big
yes.
surprise because people
It was
knew
a
that
big
he was back. Oh, it was? Okay.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah.
Oh, I thought people knew. So
Well, they didn't know until they said he was.
yeah.
It was a concussion head thing, and people didn't think he'd be cleared, and what do you know? They clear him. So
It's good that there's concussion protocol in
And-
WWE.
it's good, but it just seems like it's just for him and nobody else. But not great. So, we'll probably see you in a couple weeks. And the baseball will be in full swing, so we'll talk all about it. Lounge 246 for Stackin's Kid and everybody else. Happy holidays.